First of all, I think we're all hearing that the support will not stop, both on military, political, and economic and financial level. Second, because the UK and London are known everywhere as the capital of a private capital, as a financial capital of the world, everybody are looking forward in terms of hearing how the private sector might step into the Ukraine's recovery, being actually incentivized by the government and donors.
So when you think about it in the context of how much money is needed, I thought it was really interesting. World Bank put out an estimate the other day, and of course these are estimates, but just for 2023 alone, and this isn't taking into consideration the recent dam destruction, about $10 billion is needed. Over the course of a decade, over $400 billion. Where, to your mind, is that money going to come from?
Today, I had an honor to be at the event with the first Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine, Yulia Sviridenko, and what she told that the Ukrainian government is expecting 20% coming from the public money and 80% being private capital. We in no way understand that, from 400 to 700 billion US dollars could be actually, we can get them in public money. So the private sector has to step in, and Ukraine has to offer to private sector the project that they can invest.
I thought it was interesting earlier that the UK Prime Minister, who was also addressing the recovery conference, said that they will be looking to announce a new framework for war risk insurance. To what extent do you think governments providing these sorts of guarantees, this war risk insurance, quote unquote, is going to be essential to helping private investors deploy capital?
Government have to step in, because we understand that all private investors and private capital, they are looking for some skin in the game from the government. The skin in the game might be in form of the war insurance. It might be in form of actually putting equity into some private equity or venture capital funds, or it might be also the guarantees from the export credit agencies or export insurance agencies. So there are different ways how foreign government might incentivize or might partner with the private capital to come to Ukraine.
Essentially, you need a first loss absorption mechanism, and that's what the governments will be looking to do, so to sort of allay investors' concerns, because at the end of the day, the country is still in a state of war. And when you think about investments, you've got to think about the short term, the medium term, and the long term, which is the sort of time frame that's spelled out in the recovery fund. But one thing that I think has really emerged out of my conversations with yourself and many others at the pre-event that we attended yesterday, the London Stock Exchange, is that despite the war going on, there is still a huge appetite on the ground to keep the economy ticking, but not just do that, but also to build and plan for the future, this Ukraine 2.0, so to speak. What does that future Ukraine look like, Nataliya?
I would say that future Ukraine is Ukraine that is built by entrepreneurs, built by those resilient people that are still running businesses in Ukraine, that are investing, that are exporting, notwithstanding that we have the sea closed, that we have, very limited capacity in terms of bringing the good by the train, by those entrepreneurs that are still looking into the future, diversifying their markets and looking for investments, but also by those entrepreneurs that are now trying to partner with foreign investors, either to bring their capital into their business or to create venture funds to invest into Ukrainian tech. Definitely Ukraine is going to be the #1 tech nation in the world, because notwithstanding the war, the tech sector in Ukraine is growing. Ukrainian startups, because they are selling abroad, their market is abroad, they are expanding. And what we currently need, we just need a bit of capital flow into the country, into those startups, so they can actually flourish.